Greetings, everybody. This is Pat at Dancing Moon Travel, and we're doing something that probably looks a little different than you are normally expecting to see when you tune into Dancing Moon Travel, but it really is me. And this is Let's Talk Travel. Tonight, we invite you to explore with us one of the most iconic and sought-after destinations really on the entire planet, the island of Oahu. This is the home of Honolulu, Waikiki Beach, the World War II memorials, and so much more. And we're excited to welcome, as you can see from our screen here, Carlos Banks, Business Development Manager from Pleasant Holidays. And we're featuring Pleasant Holidays because, folks, nobody does Hawaii better than our partner, Pleasant Holidays. They are our preferred go-to when we plan Hawaii vacations for our clients. And tonight we're visiting Hawaii, next week Maui, and on from there. So welcome, Carlos.
Well, thank you, Pat, and welcome everybody out there. And a little bit about us. We're founded in 1959 in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. That's the name, Pleasant Holidays, I guess, along with Jersey Mike's, huh? And then we have, we're all over the world. So not just Hawaii, but we are huge in Hawaii. In fact, we've won awards 17 consecutive years of being the best tour operator in Hawaii, voted on by the travel agents throughout the United States. We also just won a major award of having the best advice, helping the travel agents the most out during the pandemic, no less. So Hawaii, you can't talk about Oahu without talking a little bit about Hawaii. There are 6 main islands throughout Hawaii, and we have 193 hotels throughout the Hawaiian Islands. Right now, car rentals are at a premium. So there are no car rentals right now in Hawaii through September. It's just travel right now is phenomenal. But
did you say through September, all the way through September? Wow.
Well, the first time we can get cars is in September.
Okay.
And then also Christmas is cars are on request only. And luau's are also very, very popular. And those are mostly sold out between now and September. I would say all of June is sold out. Very few remaining spots in July and August. But that's for all the Hawaiian Islands as a whole. But we also have exclusive room rates since we're so big. We're the biggest tour operator. We're 3 times, well, we have 1/3 of all the business from the mainland to Hawaii is with Pleasant Holidays. We're the big, correction, not 1/3. We are 3 times bigger than our closest competitor. That's what I really meant to say. And we have over 900 activities to choose from in Hawaii. I believe the count is right about 950 activities right now. So a little things that you need to know before you go to Hawaii and plan that trip to Hawaii with Pat. First of all, you don't need any, you don't need to have quarantine or anything anymore. That's all disappeared. That's in the past. But you got to plan the trip properly. Currently, and things change like water. So currently, if you're going to any island in Hawaii, you need to get a COVID test, and it must be a NAT test from a selected supplier prior to arrival. 72 hours, within 72 hours prior to arrival.
And you really, Carlos, you really do have to follow this to the T. This is they're very, very picky about this. So
otherwise they might put you in quarantine, and you don't want that. But then you need to, if you're going to go island hopping, you need to take another test to get to any other island except Oahu. Now, I do get questions all the time. Well, wait a minute. I want to go to Maui, and the plane stopped in Oahu to change planes. No problem. You can go right into into Oahu. You landed at Honolulu Airport, and then you make a connection up to Maui. As long as you don't leave the airport, you don't need a second COVID test. That's your first one is still good. But if you're going, I'm going to say if you're going hometown, Oahu, Maui, hometown, you're going to have 2 tests, once to get into Hawaii and once to get into Maui. But if you're going hometown, Maui, Oahu, hometown, you have 1 test for the entire trip. That's the one to get into Hawaii. There is no testing to get into Oahu, and you can get home. If you're going to Kauai, make sure Kauai is the first stop. Otherwise, you have to spend 3 days on another island before you. So if you only spent 2 days on an island, it doesn't qualify. You have to spend 3 days on another island before you can go to Kauai. So make Oahu last, and if you're going to Kauai, make Kauai first. So that's my recommendation on that. So another thing we do, we have exclusive rates. Our prices are insane. We will meet or beat anybody's price, especially at these 5 hotels. At the Moana Beach and in Moana, the Wailea Beach, on average, we were over $500 less expensive than Expedia on a 1-week trip. Now, this does require air to get these hotel rooms, but everyone has, I would say the Aston Waikiki, you buy a partial ocean view, we will give you a full ocean view, no extra charge. All the other 4 hotels, the Moana Surfrider, the Wailea Beach, the Marriott Maui, and on the Big Island, the Sheraton Kona, everyone has either a breakfast included or a food or beverage credit or a resort credit or whatever to help pay for the breakfast. And they all have, all those last 4 also have discounts at the spa. And then a lot of hotels also have additional amenities like 3rd and 4th stay free, or kids under 17 stay free. So each one of these, but no one even comes close to us at these 5 hotels. We also have concierge service. We had it at 40 hotels. I understand literally by September, by August or so, we can be in about 70 hotels. A major competitor decided to leave the Hawaii market and the Orlando market, and we're taking over the concierge service a lot of times in Hawaii. So we can set up spa treatments, golf, and all sorts of things if you're there. But please buy your activities beforehand from Pat, because if you get there in Hawaii, a lot of times you get there, it's already sold out.
Yes.
And then you got, oh man. So you can always cancel it in most cases and get a full refund. It's or you can change it around. God, I don't want to go on Tuesday. I want to go on Thursday. Most of the times you can change it around with no hassle, but it's better to have something. Otherwise you'll be locked out and have nothing.
Yeah. Carlos, we love to book those full packages where we get, the air, the resort, the transfers, the car, whatever's needed. We like to put that whole package together with excursions and things. So yeah, very important.
And if everything's included, including the air, including the car, including the hotel and everything, we have through the end of June a cancel for any reason plan, and I mean cancel for any reason, for only $99. It gives you a future travel credit. You can cancel up to the day of departure. So if you get to the airport, you're going to get to the airport late and miss the flight, call us before the flight leaves, and you can cancel and get 100% back as a future travel credit. We also have a cash back one, which is more expensive, but for $99, regardless of the cost of the trip. So the trip could be a $20,000 trip for 2 people, $99 insurance. Pat, isn't that inexpensive?
That is very inexpensive, and we always get that travel insurance, folks. You just have to, particularly this day and age. It's more important than ever.
Yeah, so we also offer, we can get you the golf and spas and everything else. Also luau's. Again, book your luau's in advance. Even under normal conditions, the best ones sell out close to 6 months in advance in some cases. So I always book, when you're making a booking, book your luau. That's, I would say, is probably the most important activity to book in advance. And there's two types, Hawaiian and Polynesian style. The Polynesian style, they're the ones who have the storage and all these other things. That is not a Hawaiian luau. And of course, you have to get a lei. It's a term, a lot of times when you get into a hotel, they might even give you another lei and whatever. It's a thing. I personally wear if I'm giving a lei from the hotel, I wear that lei on departure too, as a term. It might be a little bit old, but as a term of thank you very much.
Lovely.
And they're not all made out of flyers. And again, Hawaii's it's isolated. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. And from Los Angeles, you're talking about a 5.5 hour flight. And it's 3 hours behind California, except during daylight savings time, which we're in right now, and 6 hours behind Florida or the East Coast. Again, but daylight savings changes everything because they do not deserve it. They do not observe it. They deserve it, but no, they don't observe it. And in fact, even Florida, we're trying to change the laws that we can have that as permanent. Arizona is the only one I know is in continental United States is on God's time. They don't change their clocks. And then our climate is warm and sunny year round. But you'll find out when we take another one of these, when we get to the Big Island, there's snow in Hawaii.
Huh? Can be.
Yeah, there is snow in Hawaii, but don't worry about it. It's about 80 degrees down on the water. So we're going to Oahu and have a little bit of fun. Oahu. Now, I love giving everybody a hard time. So first of all, my test I used to do in school all the time and get in trouble. I would tell my teacher, okay, what state is the furthest north? What state is the furthest south? What state is the furthest west? And what state is the furthest east? And they would give me the answer. And if I did this right now, I'd bet you everybody would fail, almost everybody. So the furthest north is Alaska, of all our states. People forget about Alaska. Furthest south is Hawaii. That's on the Big Island. And the furthest west is Alaska. And the furthest east, it's a trick one, is Alaska, because the 180 degree mark goes 179 degrees east, 179 degrees west, and 180 degrees all in the Aleutian Islands. So everything we understand in geography is misdeceiving. So guess what is the biggest city in the world? Largest city in the world. In fact, it's so big, it's bigger than Los Angeles to Kansas City. Well, wait a minute. How could one city be that big? Well, it's in Hawaii. It's Honolulu. So Honolulu, Hawaii is broken up into different counties. So the county of Oahu is Honolulu. The city is Honolulu. This is the only city county in all of Hawaii. So anything not part of a county is considered Honolulu. So have you ever noticed Hawaii 5-0? The Honolulu police up on the North Shore or whatever? Because it's one big city.
Wow.
Honolulu extends not Midway, but past Midway, all the way over. So it is literally Los Angeles to Kansas City in distance. It is the largest city by area in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it's over 50.
You are truly the trivia master.
Oh,
Carlos.
yes. Yeah, so in fact, Oahu has the largest wind generator in the world, last time I checked. So another fun fact. So we're in Oahu, and the drive time from Oahu, from the airport to Waikiki is about 30 minutes at 2 in the morning. Oahu, and I'll be up front, Honolulu has the 5th worst traffic jam in the United States. It's the 11th largest city in the United States. And you have all these mountains in the way and the like. So traffic is a bear. Personally, I do not recommend renting a car here, except going up country and just renting it for a day. I would not get a permanent car rental. A, Waikiki parking is very expensive, and B, the transportation in the Waikiki area is phenomenal. So it's not worth it.
Great public transit. They have Uber and Lyft and everything right there. So this is the one island where I think car rental is just forget about it unless you need it for a day, like you said.
Yeah. I find it's not really. This is the busiest island. This is where your nightlife. After this island, almost all the other islands in Hawaii get sleepier and sleepier and more, quieter. And then you get to Kauai. I mean, they roll the street closes down about 5 or 6, and that's it. So that's the quietest of all the island. So if you're looking for action, this is it. You want to go to Oahu, to Waikiki.
And this is really the destination that most people think is kind of synonymous with Hawaii. It's the first thing they think about is Oahu and Honolulu.
Yeah.
There's so much more, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, and that's another day.
Yes, another day.
So in Pearl Harbor, it's open now and everything. It was closed, and they had done repairs. In fact, when they were going out to the memorial, they found it was in real minor repair turned into major repair. It was closed for almost a year, and Pleasant Holidays literally put thousands and thousands of dollars into the thing to try to get it fixed up properly. So, I mean, this is literally our home in a lot of ways because we're so big here. So you're on a military base here, so very high security. You cannot leave anything on a bus or a motor coach or a van or anything while here. So all bags must be in a locker. I mean, it was early morning, and they freaked out when I came with a bottle of water on the bus. Oh. Because nothing, basically nothing allowed. I think they do make exception for infant formula or something like that, but basically, no, they don't allow anything. And I said, I assured the driver I will have that bottle completely and in the trash before we get there. And then once you're there, everything must be vacated from the bus or whatever and put into storage. Otherwise, it's thrown away. It takes about minimum 75 minutes to experience this area. Just to go out to see the memorial, it's about a 45-minute jaunt. So about 15 minutes out, 15 minutes to pay your respects, and about 15 minutes to come back in. And then there's a great movie, and they redid the theater and everything literally in the last couple of years. So it's really neat. Now, if there's high winds, then they will not run, 25 miles an hour or more. They do not run the boats. And then my tour took me over to the other side, and I took a tour on my own of the Battleship Missouri and the Bowfin Submarine. And it's kind of unique in the sense where the memorial is, that's where the beginning of the wars, in a sense, started. And the Missouri is where the Japanese signed their the papers to say that they gave up, basically. So, and I can't think of the right word for that.
Armistice Day, something like that.
Yes, but that's where they signed the papers. There is a little coffee shop in the Battleship, so that's what I did after seeing the going over and doing the other part, and then I came over here, and then I get a little tired of walking the ship because there is a lot of walking, and then I took a little snack break before continuing on with my tour that I was on. And my tour went into the Punchbowl. And now they cannot legally stop here. They go very slowly and tell you all the different people that are buried here. And like around the mountain around crater, there are caves. And the unique thing about the caves is during the war, we hid our currency there. Back then, our currency could be changed in for gold. Well, wait a minute. If the Japanese overran the island and took our US currency back and then got it traded in for gold, we could be paying it for the war effort against ourselves. And so then Hawaii, and you can look it up for a what they call an overprint. So Hawaii had $1, $5, $10, and $20 bills that were on the back overprinted with the word Hawaii on it. It was not US legal tender. So the Hawaiians, if the Japanese capture that money, you got some toilet paper for them. But if they capture the real money without the overprint, then that could have been a really big disaster. So until we can get that money off the island, it was literally hidden in the Punchbowl until we can get it off the island. So little trivia there too. And then over in Honolulu and Waikiki, we have, of course, a famous diamond head and the statue of Duke, the father of surfing. That's where he's the one who started the whole thing. Over the Bishop Museum, you're going to find out about the start of Hawaii in a lot of ways. And the history of Hawaii is in the Bishop Museum. The Hawaiians believe they came from the Marquesas Island, which is in the French Polynesia today. And from there, they came up thousands of miles up to the Big Island, they believe. And that's how they got the Hawaiian people started. The Polynesians started coming to Hawaii was via the Big Island. So all that information is found in the Bishop Museum. And then we go to the only royal palace in the United States. We did have a king and queen at one time in the Kingdom of Hawaii, the Iolani Palace. This is a very unique residence. It's the official residence of the last two monarchs in the Hawaiian Kingdom. But this is, they had electricity 4 years before the White House, Windsor Palace, and the Imperial Palace of Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. And another unique thing, they also had the first palace in the world to have flushed toilets.
Amazing.
And they were the very first telephone system in Hawaii was here. So they were so far advanced compared to us Americans at the time, because remember, they were an independent place. It was incredible. It just shocks you when you hear stuff like that. In fact, in Hawaii, they had the first schools west of the Mississippi River.
Amazing.
So Hanauma Bay, this is I call this still part of the kind of the Waikiki area. It's about 10 miles away from Waikiki. So if you're on Diamond Head, for sure you can see this area. So great for snorkeling and swimming and the like over in this area. What we're going to do now is take a little tour of the area. And when you're going around, just remember Hawaii itself, in fact, Honolulu is the second most expensive city in the United States. And their local 7-Elevens are called, they sell souvenirs and everything, are called ABCs. I call it always bring cash. So we have, and going this in the center of the Oahu, and then I'm going to go up to the North Shore and around. We have the Dole Plantation, and we can have one of the largest mazes in the world. And of course, you have everything pineapple here. And be truthful, I always say, they export the lousy pineapples to the States and keep the good ones to themselves, because pineapples in Hawaii taste totally different than they do here in the mainland. It's incredible. And then we go up to the North Shore, and we can have some shaved ice. We can have shaved ice a lot of different places, but probably the most popular ones is up in the North Shore. And that's like a snow cone, but they put all sorts of things in there. Some coffee or whatever. So all sorts of things in their shaved ice. Now the Bonsai pipeline is also found up here. But if you go up there this summer, you're going to say, huh? People come from all over the world to see a freaking wave that's only a foot or two tall? No, these big waves only happen at certain times during the wintertime. During the summertime, it's quiet. During the wintertime, it can be 25-foot waves. So it's incredible. But again, it's a wintertime situation only, and only when the wind is blowing in the right direction. That's when you find all the stores are closed because all the surfers are out surfing. Then we run over to the Polynesian Cultural Center. This is run by the Mormon Church, so it's closed on Sundays. But during the pandemic, and I even forgot to say this during the Dole Plantation, right now for extra cleaning, they are the Polynesian Cultural Center, as well as the Dole Plantation is closed on Wednesdays for deep cleaning. So
okay. And this cultural center, this is a place you can spend really an entire day. It's quite a comprehensive.
They have actual people from all over the Polynesian area. One area that to me is more so because of how much we sell of it is French Polynesia. It is so massive and so diversified. They have two lands, Tahiti and the Marquesas lands. So they have two lands in one country over there. So it's very fascinating. And they also have a luau a show there. They used to have a luau too, but things have changed totally with everything going on with the pandemic. But they are closed on Sundays, normally year round anyway. And now with the pandemic, they are closed on Wednesday for deep cleaning. Keep going around the horn here. We go to the Kualoa Ranch. And here we have, this is where Jurassic Park was filmed, but I gotta admit, it was really being filmed up in Kauai, and a major hurricane came and literally wiped out Kauai. And
wow.
For the filming of Jurassic Park, Kauai would have been in really, really big problems because they had all these generators up there already to film for the movies. So the generators ran the hospitals and everything else while everything got worked out. And in fact, while not legally, they had a bunch of the crew members or crew for the equipment were allowed to fly on military planes and stuff to make sure the right items got into Kauai to get up there because they knew already what was going on up there. So that was a unique thing. And because of that, then the Jurassic Park was filmed down here, and then other things. Now there was a military base here. There was an airstrip because this was literally the furthest you can get to Midway Airport. So Honolulu was just too far away by a couple miles, but here they can do it on one tank. So this was a secondary field. So sometimes they would go from the Pearl Harbor area over here, refuel up, and then take off and get all the way to Midway on one tank of gas. And the beaches, I don't know what type of beach you want, but we have all sorts of beaches in Oahu. And yeah, it's just incredible. We have some diving areas and the like. Again, we have surfing areas. We do have some whales come up in this area, but not, if you're going to do whale watching, you have to go to Maui.
Maui, yeah, for sure.
That's it. Even Kauai has, this is not the best place for whale watching. It's very limited here. So I don't even promote that part of it because there's so many other great places in Hawaii. So Pat, do you have any other questions or things?
I think you've just about covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, just folks, FYI, there's over 100 beaches in Honolulu, in the that ring the Honolulu area alone.
Yeah, and I recommend, you know, several of the things that Carlos touched on here. I highly recommend spending some time at the Cultural Center. Highly recommend a circle tour. If you're only in Oahu, Honolulu for like 3 nights, you're doing more than one island. I really recommend you at least do that circle tour to get a feel for the entire island and just try to see some of it. If you have time, the Cultural Center and of course the War Memorials. Great job, Carlos. Thank you so much. And guys, our word of the day is pleasant. It's actually 2 words, pleasant Oahu, OAHU. So enter pleasant Oahu in the comment section here, and you will be entered in our weekly drawing for that Starbucks card. We appreciate you hanging in there with us. Thank you again, Carlos. And you'll be back with us for the next 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Maui and the Big Island. So next week, Maui, and the following week, the Big Island.
Yeah, and Pat, as we're talking about Oahu, personally, I would do the Pearl Harbor and the Punchbowl all in one tour because you got a my city tour also on that. But that's a full day. It's in itself almost. And then, like you said, the circle tour, that is a very, very full day. I would not do a full a circle tour that includes Pearl Harbor. That's doing Pearl Harbor a total injustice.
Right. You need to do those totally separately, separate days. You know, get in on your flight mid-afternoon. Usually that will be arriving 2 to 3 o'clock, depending on your departure. Take the rest of that day off, relax. And then we'll book a couple of excursions. Carlos, thank you again. This was
and I wanted to say one thing too, because in case someone wants to know, on the other coast here, at the Koalani area, that's where you have the Disney Aulani Resort coast, and that's where the Four Seasons is at, over in that area. So
right.
So
some amazing
that one, you
properties.
probably want to get a car rental, but Waikiki, don't get a car except maybe for a day.
Yeah, you just don't need it, and the parking, the fuel, everything. It's just a huge expense. Save the money for take a tour instead. Let them pick you up at the hotel.
Well, I would like to say thank you to everybody. Aloha and mahalo for being with us today, and Pat. Thank you, and looking forward to see you.
See you next week.
Aloha.
Aloha.